Okay, been gone for a while now. Let's see. What could we make a video on today? Oh yeah, we can make it on Naruto. This is about what I didn't remember about Naruto watching as a kid. So a little bit of background: when watched Dragon Ball Z when it first came out as really young. I literally watched like the first episode with my grandma after she picked me up for school. So after Dragon Ball Z ended, and there was a few other animes that happened, there was kind of like a void because it felt like they were somewhat going away from violent cartoons, which I mean, I guess, anime, all the fighting and stuff was really, what kind of resonated with me, I guess, in a way, just first watching. It was like, oh, something kind of edgy is like action. I really like that kind of stuff. Rurouni Kenshin, Gundam, all that kind of stuff. But I recently started rewatching Naruto with my wife, and I'm thankful she's decided to sit down and actually watch it, because at first it was like pulling teeth, but now she's into it pretty well. And what I didn't remember, there was a lot that I don't remember as a child, and rewatching it, I wanted to make a video talking about those things in case you ever wanted to go back, or if you ever, wanted to start, things that to look out for, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of good in Naruto. I see a fair amount of people don't like it. Like, I have a lot of friends that like anime, and they don't like Naruto. They just don't. So, it's to each their own. It's a little bit easier to get into stuff when you're younger, so, at least in my opinion. So, here's the things that I didn't remember about Naruto as a child. Now, the first thing that I didn't remember was really how fast I think the series got going. Because, looking back, it's like, oh man, it takes forever. There's a lot of filler, quote unquote, at the beginning. And there's really not that much at the very beginning with just Naruto being a kid. And it really gets quick into the Team 7, into Land of Waves. I guess it's the Land of Waves arc. I guess that's what you call it. The Zabuza, Haku fight, whatever. That kind of part of the first series. So that was something I was kind of surprised about, because I was like, I remember telling someone, I was like, well, yeah, you got to watch about, like 30, 40 episodes and then you're in it, but not really, because it, like I said, they start training, and it may just be my nostalgia kicking in. It's like, well, the training was pretty good, and there's plenty of character exposition, which seems to be the whole first part of the show anyways, just so much exposition stuff. Let's see, but where it goes fast, it also is a lot slower than I remember in ways, which is, it seems contradictory. I'm like, well, you just said it was fast. Why are you saying it's slow? Well, I say it's slow because we're sitting there and we're marathoning it right now. They, most of the time, the way it works is there's manga written and then they write the show. Or at least that's the way it was, at least in this case, for Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. The manga came first, the anime came second. So, which is not always a great thing, in my opinion. They changed that with Dragon Ball Super. Is just the anime is just going, and the manga will come later, written by someone else under supervision. But that's neither here or there. That's your own opinion. But the thing about it is they had to find ways to fill up TV time or fill up episode time, while they didn't have as much content, and that's where you get filler episodes, whole filler arcs later on in the show. So what really started pissing me off was when it got into the meat of, I guess, the first time Zabuza encounters Kakashi. I really noticed that every episode would show like the last 3 to 4 minutes from the last episode, and then it would play the intro. So you're already 6-7 minutes into an episode that's not even 30 total minutes long, or maybe it might be just 30 total minutes, but then the outro is also, you know, maybe 90 to seconds to 2 minutes, a minute and a half to 2 minutes long. So it gets to the point where there's like 6-7 minutes that's not new. Not to mention in the episodes, which even early on, I think it was like episode 2, 3, they have like 5 flashbacks in the episode to episode 1. I'm like, that's a little early to be doing flashbacks like that. It was like there was nothing of the episode of value, like we didn't remember any of it, which I have to think also, I'm marathoning it, but to them, it could have been a while. It could be like 3-4 weeks in between, but there's so many flashbacks. It was just like, I needed this to get on, you know what I mean? Like, literally, most of the time you watch a show, like, if you watch it on your console or whatever, you turn the controller on, you start watching, and the controller goes off because you're watching so long. Literally, my controller's on the whole time because I'm having to skip these flashbacks I just saw, like, not even 30 minutes ago. Like, and the series continues to do this kind of thing. It gets, I think right now it's starting to get a little less, but I did just get into a filler arc, so, I guess when it's filler arc, you don't have to have that stuff as much. So it gets to do it quick, but then it's got a lot of pet peeve stuff. It's like, please just get on with it. You know what I mean? Like when you're watching, it's like, I wish I was watching an edited version where someone went in and cut it all out than just the actual full version. It's actually quite annoying. My wife started getting really frustrated towards the end of the arc. She was like, I just want it to be over at this point. And I was like, well, to me, I had the nostalgia coming a little bit, so it was like a slow brew, you know what I mean? But we get closer to the tuning exams, and then I start losing my patience because I'm like, I really want this to get on with it. And, I thought the Sasuke Gaara fight was earlier. I forgot about that. My main thing was like, you get like 10-15 minutes of new content an episode, maybe. Another thing I didn't realize was that the Kakashi Zabuza fight really wasn't that good to the very climax of the arc, of the entire arc. And that was the thing that I didn't really remember because for some reason, I remember Zabuza and Kakashi just going ham at it. You know what I mean? Just beating the snot out of each other. It really didn't happen at all. It was really slow, methodical. Again, kind of frustrating to watch because it's like so little's happening. I felt like that was a really big issue with Naruto is when you have multiple things happening, they do really bad jobs of, giving focus on things. Like sometimes you'll watch an episode and there'll be a lot of focus on the thing that you were probably most deeply into, but there's other episodes where they just show like 2 or 3 minutes of it and it's mostly the same thing. I will get into that a little bit later, but right now I kind of want to go with sequential order of how things started like annoying me or things I didn't remember that were good. So we're starting at the beginning. We're in the Zabuza arc now. So the fight wasn't that good, until the very end. I didn't remember that nearly every character in Naruto is tragic. Like they have some tragedy in their life in some way, which is I guess it's kind of true in a sense that if you talk to someone, most people have had something that they would consider probably the worst part of their life, which I guess that makes sense. You know what I mean? I guess it makes sense in a way. It's like, it's kind of realistic. Everyone has something bad that's happened to them. And I guess also, considering this is, the one of the Ninja Warriors, I can't remember. I'm not that deep in the lore of it. I can't remember how many Ninja Warriors there were. I think this is the second Great Ninja War? Is that what it would be, I guess? With Kakashi and all that stuff happening, when he was younger. That ended, so there's probably a lot of spite and all kinds of resentment in the world. I know after some of the world wars, some people said that people didn't have as much spite. They started traveling the world, seeing people, that kind of thing. But I'm sure to other people, there was great resentment. Even to this day, some people resent full countries or even races just because of something that happened, that long ago, that no one has anything to do with anymore. It's been passed down resentment wise. I'm sure it's kind of the same thing that could happen in Naruto, and I assume that's probably what happened. Not every character, but there's a lot of characters that are tragic. They have really crazy backstories. Speaking of which, there's a lot of characters in general, I would say, that I didn't realize you had to learn. Of course, I said the tuning exams where it really starts expanding. So let's get back on track here. I think I didn't remember how emotional the last episode's Atlanta Waves arc was. If that's the name, like I said earlier. With Zabuza realizing just how big of a douchebag he was. I think that, the really how it ended with both his arms getting disabled and Kakashi killing Haku and then Naruto giving him the kunai in his mouth and he just ran through all those people, all that guy's gang. I can't remember, boss something. I can't remember the name anymore. But he wound up killing him with the kunai in his mouth, and it was just like he still lived and Kakashi helped him and put him next to Haku. It was in the feels, man. It was like, man, this is just sad. You know what I mean? Like,
the loss of his strength and skill, yes, that means something to me. But the boy, nothing.
If you mean that, you're an even bigger rat than I thought.
Okay, that's enough. Calm down, Naruto. He's not the enemy. Not right now.
Ah! Shut up! Far as I'm concerned, he's enemy number one! After everything he did for you, Haku lived for you! You were the most important thing in the world to him! And he meant nothing to you, nothing at all! While he was sacrificing everything for you, you never felt anything at all for him? And if I become stronger, does that mean I'll become as cold-hearted as you are? He threw his life away. You never let him have a dream of his own. But he didn't care, and you just toss him aside like he was nothing. A broken tool. Man, that's so wrong. So wrong!
Your words cut deep. Deeper than any blade.
that's just really crazy. But I think as a kid, the reason why I had so much affinity for those episodes, even though I hadn't seen them in a long time, was the impact that the very end of the arc had. Like seeing those things. As censored as they probably were on, regular Toonami or whatever it was airing on Cartoon Network, the show's really violent. Well, not really, but it is a lot more violent than I thought it was. There's a fair amount of blood and stuff, you know what I mean? People getting hit with shurikens and kunais a lot, like, ooh, like getting stabbed in the back, that kind of stuff. So, I think that's why I thought the arc was really, a lot better than I remember it being. But in reality, it dragged its feet, and it wasn't about Zabuza and Kakashi. It was more really about Haku versus Sasuke and Naruto, which I didn't remember that being that big of a part of it, I guess, which is strange because there's so much focused on them. I think also if you want to go into it right now, is a theme that occurs with Zabuza that winds up happening to a lot of people. Is people's ambitions. People in the show that have ambitions, which I guess in a sense is they look at goals and ambitions a little different, I would sense, because Naruto, main character, you know what I mean, he has a goal of becoming Hokage. I mean, yeah, is that selfish in a way? I guess it's like I want to, but at the same time, it's not, because what entails being a Hokage, you need to help the whole village, you need to help everybody, you know what I mean? While you have Sasuke, who only wants to kill Itachi. That's a goal in its own sense, and he winds up making wrong decisions because of it. And I think that's really where it bridges off to my point that I'm trying to make. The bad guys, anybody with an ambition that seems pretty like off kilter, you know what I mean? Like they probably get punished for it in the long run of the series. And if you look at it at the end, it's like Zabuza wound up, biting the dust, and Haku died, and nothing happened because of it, I mean, it was just like, he realized how wrong he was, but it was too late. And, the whole reason for even doing it was stupid to begin with, if you really want to talk about it. Like, I'm going to control the whole land. Okay, all right. Just kill everybody and rule everybody. That'll work. So, but it really goes all the way up into the end for spoiler alerts. So, if my wife's watching this, please don't listen to this. Please stop right now. To the very end with Madara. You know what I mean? Like, Madara had his ultimate Tsukiyomi. Is that how you say it? I hope that's how you say it. So, he thought it was his plan. He was being controlled the whole time through other ambitions. He wound up Madara gone, Obito gone. You know what I mean? Like, those kind of things, if it's on the edge of being wrong, it's probably not going to work out for you in the Naruto universe. So, let's see. I got that written down. Also, speaking of repeating themes that begin to show up, is obviously this is something that happened in Dragon Ball Z a little bit. It's happened a lot more in Super, in my opinion, than Z. It's even went even further. But Naruto also does it, and it starts happening really early. Anyone that seems to be like an enemy or doesn't like Naruto just has a way of winning them over. And he makes friends of most enemies he faces if the enemy doesn't die, if they're not recurring enemies throughout the whole arc or the whole series. Most normal, I guess if you can call Naruto normal, they seem to be on Naruto's side. And that really happens throughout the whole show. So, I mean, you could really, those 2 points, you can just take them to the bank. Naruto's going to make friends with people that don't really like him. And bad guys that got some crazy ambition are going to get put in the dirt. I also didn't remember just how strong the Genin were at the beginning of Naruto. Multiple times people call Naruto talentless. He failed the entry exam so many times. But yet, the dude does some really crazy stuff, at least up to the Sasuke retrieval arc and the Kimimaru fight, that kind of thing. It was like, I think they might have stepped back and realized, hey, we might be making Naruto, too strong as a kid, because with the Nine-Tailed Fox, he, broke the Haku things that no one could even do anything about, the mirror, the crystal mirrors or whatever. He just destroyed them, just shredded Haku. Up to that point, they couldn't do anything. They could barely hurt Haku. After that, let's see, what's the next time? I think it was when he fought Orochimaru in the woods. He stopped the snake, with his, he grabbed a hold of it and stopped it. That was pretty insane. Then his chakra got all screwed up, which I don't know if they knew that they were going to use that plot point later where Orochimaru put the 5-finger seal on his, on top of the seal he already had. So later on they said it messed up with his chakra flow, but literally he fights Kiba right after they get out of the woods, and if his chakra was messed up, if it was a plot point that they already knew about, they never mention it, but he fought that whole fight getting, really just completely hammered, really. He was getting destroyed. And so then he somehow, outsmarted him, outsmarted Kiba, and took punishment the whole way through, and then came out on top. And on top of that, his chakra wasn't stable. He couldn't even use what he wanted that much. If that's the plot point they already had planned, like I said. Because they didn't mention that till a little bit later with Jiraiya. So then the summoning of Gamabunta, the whole fight with Gaara, Gaara literally almost releases the whole, the Jinchuriki, he releases his tail beast, you know what I mean? The crazy raccoon is out. And he wound up fighting him with Gamabunta. He summoned Gamabunta. He did all this stuff, and it was just, dude, it was insane, really. He learned the Rasengan, all these things, all stacked together. It was like, Naruto as a kid was really strong, and then they kind of slow it down because the Kimimaru Sasuke thing, the Sasuke fight in the anime was, it was not as good as I remember, because I remember just watching all those AMVs back in the day, just Linkin Park and whatnot, and they had all the action together when, man, there was really so much talking and so much background, and it was, yeah, they were trying to build it up more, the Sasuke and Naruto thing, but it was like we had already had plenty of development. Maybe one big good flashback or one inner monologue for both of them, and then really just have them duke it out. Would have been completely okay with me. Looking back, that fight was, it was kind of short, really. It was pretty intense, but it was just, it wasn't as good as I remember. I thought that was like the end-all be-all fight. Like, my wife was like, I had to go to work, and I knew it was coming up soon, like maybe in 3-4 episodes. She was like, well, I'm going to keep watching. I was like, please don't. Please don't keep watching. I got to watch. So, came home and watched it, and I just sat there the whole time. I was just skipping so much filler stuff, so much flashbacks. Made me sad, man. You know what I mean? I was like, man, this is not as good as I remember it being. And as a kid, this was the last thing that I ever saw. I don't remember if they took a huge big break or something, but I can't remember if it was filler, because I know watching it now that there's a lot of filler after that. Some of it wasn't, but there was a lot of filler. And I don't know if I stopped watching it or if they stopped airing it and then started airing Shippuden at some other time that I can't remember. Maybe I was out of it. I don't know. But the thing is, I miss Shippuden. So years later, I was in college, and I was like, I wonder how Naruto is or whatever, if there's anything. And I finally realized that there's actually manga and episodes to watch online. But the anime wasn't anywhere near the manga, so I just started reading the manga. Mostly because I could just sit there and read it and, not disturb anybody or anything, while I was at college. I know headphones are a thing, but, So started reading it, and it was pretty much up to the final arc of the series. And when I mean final arc, I mean like the whole, there's probably like, the war onwards. We're not going to get into, you split that up into several things if you wanted to, but so I really didn't know anything about Shippuden early on. And I have to say that Shippuden really threw me for a loop. So it starts off showing you when they meet up with Sasuke, like the first episode, and then it takes like 70 episodes to get to that point or something like that. It's crazy if I'm remembering right. It's like insane how many episodes you have to watch to get back to that point, and it's like it throws you for such a loop. It's like if I watched it while it was happening, it may have made more sense. Like maybe there was a skip, or maybe there was obviously there's a time skip, but I mean like over in Japan, maybe there was like a halt on it for a second. Maybe they went right into it. I'm not sure, but it just seemed like we made a shift, and the shift didn't go that great in my opinion. So I'll probably save the rest of my thoughts on that stuff for another episode if you guys want one. But I would say the last thing about Naruto that I didn't remember, which watching with my wife made it so much clearer, was I mentioned it a little bit earlier, a tidbit, but dude, there's so many characters. So many. There's, my God, like let's just look at a list. Let's see. We got Kakashi. We got Sasuke. They talk about Hashirama, the first Hokage. We got Naruto, Itachi, Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Gaara, Tsunade, Sakura, Hinata, Obito. No, not that. That's not. Shikamaru, Rock Lee, Sarutobi, the third Hokage, Neji, my guy, Kabuto, Kisame, Kiba, Choji, Asuma. They showed Tobirama? Is that how you say his name? The second Hokage. Shino, Tenten, Ino, Konohamaru, Zabuza, Tamari, Haku, Kankuro. Iruka, Kimimaru, Yamato, Kurenai. I mean, there is a lot of characters. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of them. I mean, dude, there's a lot of characters in Naruto. And kind of daunting in a way. When you start it up, it's like, dude, there's so many names. But that's another thing, is like, if you go back and you watch manga, I mean, anime is not as bad with this kind of thing, but if you rewatch like Game of Thrones, like if you watch all of Game of Thrones, which I watched pretty much, I marathoned it up to this season that just happened, and then I watched the season that just happened live. Unfortunately, I should have just waited till the whole thing came out, because I'm waiting years now. But anime's not as bad about it. Game of Thrones, you rewatch episode 1 and you know all the names. And you can kind of understand stuff. Not even kinda. You can definitely understand stuff a lot better that's going on. Because like when you first watch it, they're naming all these names and all this stuff that's happening. And you're just like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, so that's the thing, is there's a lot of characters. It's a little daunting. But it will come to you. So that was the things I forgot about Naruto watching as a kid. And now that I'm watching Shippuden for the first time, quote unquote first time, you know, I'm watching the beginning parts of it I've never seen. So I may have known some of the fights that happened, but I didn't really know how any of it happened, how it got built up. I just knew that these people fought these people, didn't know the reasons, etc., etc. So I'm getting into it now, and we'll make some more videos in the future on Naruto if you guys enjoy it. I haven't streamed in a while, just been working, man, just so much. So I want to get around to trying to at least make a video for you guys and just have a little discussion. So hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like. Favorite, subscribe, all that stuff. I don't even know, can you favorite anymore on this platform? That's an old saying. It just comes out of my mouth. So like, subscribe, notification bells, follow on Twitter, follow on Twitch, follow on Instagram, follow. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.